Hey everyone, welcome to the Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It is Tuesday, June 24th. It is 2025. We have a 12-game MLB slate to talk about here on today's podcast. So I've missed everyone. First of all, it's been a week and a half since the last podcast. And I planned on doing the podcast yesterday. I was gone last week. I knew I'd be gone. We had volleyball nationals with my team that I coach for club volleyball, and we actually did really well. We went 7-4. We had a great week. Huge improvement from last year in nationals, so I was excited about that. But on Monday of last week, I started to get laryngitis, and I did not have a voice all week for nationals. So I probably wouldn't have been able to podcast last week anyway. It was very miserable. It was really funny. There was a couple times where I was like yelling at the girls and my voice would crack because I would have to yell at the top of my lungs for them to hear me normal. And so that was kind of funny. And I told them like laugh it off a little bit, but do your jobs. So I was going to do the podcast yesterday. If you listen to the NASCAR show on Saturday, you probably already knew like my voice was rough. I struggled to get through the podcast or the NASCAR live show. And I was like, all right, I need one more day for the morning grind. And then I'll hop back on and get back in the groove of things. And everyone here knows I love the podcast. I love doing the podcast. So excited to be back. My voice, this is the best my voice has sounded in about 8 days. So that's good. And what's up, chat? I see you all in there. DJ, Yeezy, Brad, Derek, Carolina Guy says, my daughter plays travel basketball. Nationals was this week. It's just crazy, right? It's wild. It's the second nationals I've coached at, and it's just a different level of competition. It's so fun. And my team that I took over last year, we went 1-9 in nationals last year. So huge improvement to go 7-4 this year. We've done a lot with this team, and just excited for the future of this team. So ready to get back in the swing of things. I have not looked at baseball. So if I miss some injuries, I'm sorry ahead of time. I really just, kind of paid attention to what I had going on, focused on coaching. I was still going to like do some sports betting while I was like gone, and like I didn't do anything. I completely disconnected from the fantasy world, the betting world, work, all of that stuff. So I saw that there's been a lot of home runs. It's obviously it's getting hot. So that's not too shocking that we're starting to see a lot more home runs. So that's cool. I see when I was like looking at totals earlier, I was like, oh man, definitely seems like totals are a little bit higher than they have been. So overall, it's more of if I just miss an injury. So that's the biggest thing. If I miss an injury or something, don't throw rocks at my feet. I don't know. Yell at me in chat. How about that? We'll say don't yell at me in chat if I miss that. So do the best I can. Excited to get back in the swing of things. This is like I did some research on this slate already before, like I normally do. It seems like an interesting one. So excited to break it down. And I am excited. I will say I saw this announcement the other day where I was, the Reds were going to call up, Chase Burns, and I was like, oh, I didn't know what day it was going to happen, so I was super excited to like see that it was today, and like I get to talk about Chase Burns. So that's actually the first game we get to talk about. So let's jump in and have some fun here. So appreciate all the love and chat, and definitely excited to be back. And If you're listening in podcast form or if you're watching on delay on YouTube, definitely hit that 1.25 with my voice. That's what they were saying in NASCAR, the live show. We got Yankees and Reds, 9 total in this game. Yankees a 164 favorite. Carlos Rodon against Chase Burns. We'll go to Carlos Rodon here first. I like left-handed pitchers against the Reds. I have all year. I don't necessarily love the ballpark, Cincinnati, the Great American Small Park, but as I like Stevenson, this lineup doesn't have a lot of right-handed power like Ellie De La Cruz. I know he's super hot right now, but he's striking out at 30% against left-handed pitching this season. Steer, McLean, like these guys we expect to be good against lefties have all kind of really struggled against left-handed pitching this season. Candelario being back is good. I know Austin Hayes is getting close to being back. Marte is another one they kind of need back here. I know he's getting kind of close to getting back. So they'll get some of these bats back that are good against lefties, but I think it's all systems go today on playing Carlos Rodon. I think that, when we look at this slate as a whole, we have some iffy pitching, but I think he's one of the options that's super solid today. So don't mind him at all. Other side of this game. So you might see me like blow my nose. I'm sorry. I'll definitely mute my mic. And like rub my eyes, like my throat, because it is like a lot more energy to like talk right now. Like I'm talking a lot louder than I normally would just to talk normal. It makes my eyes watery and it makes my nose like run. It's so weird. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Everything I've looked up though, it's a lot of symptoms of laryngitis. Giovanni Brickhouse, I made it to a live show. What? Welcome. All right, let's talk Burns. Obviously, I'm excited for Chase Burns. He's, one of the top prospects in baseball. Just drafted here recently last year. Big arm. I mean, he has a major league fastball. This guy can hit triple digits with his fastball. He has an above average slider. He has an above average curveball. He seems to be the real deal when looking at pitch mix and all that stuff. It just seems like he excelled at high A ball in Daytona, which I'm really sad because it's very close to me to go to Tortuga games. And I'm very sad that I didn't go and get to see him pitch. It was a crazy busy time. He excelled at AA. He pitched well at AAA, and they're like, all right, like he started twice at AAA, and they're like, let's just go. I mean, the guy had 89 strikeouts in 66 innings in AAA, or in gosh, why I can't speak. Minor leagues this year. He has great stuff. Probably not the best matchup in the world on your first start, getting the Yankees. It's a tough lineup. Stanton's back in the lineup. I saw that the other day. We were out to dinner with the team, and I saw that like he was hitting when we were eating. So saw that he was back. I don't know if that helps them or hurts them. I mean, he obviously gives them more upside. He also adds more strikeouts to this lineup. So now, like, we're back to getting, Judge and Stanton, Jazz, Dominguez, Wells. Like, these guys strike out. I did notice, like, they don't have him in the player pool on DraftKings. We've seen them add pitchers in the past, like the day of. So it'd really be a pricing thing for me on whether or not like I'm going to roll out Burns today. But I love the potential on everything I've read about this kid. He has really good stuff. As far as the Yankees bats against him, I noticed like when I was looking through some of his stuff, he does tend to give up some home runs. So that makes the Yankees in this ballpark very appealing. It's also his debut. And we know that like debuts can not always be the best. Reds bullpen better than they were earlier this season, but they're still like bottom half of the league in a lot of statistics. Not as bad as like the Athletics in Washington and the Angels. The Arizona bullpen has been awful. But the Angels bullpen just continues to give up so many home runs. I don't mind the Yankee stack. It would be more of like a hedge stack. And then on the Red side, like I said, I know like De La Cruz is super hot right now. He's on a roll. He's just playing out of his mind baseball wise right now. But even with that said, like I feel like his stretch that he's had over the last 10, 12 days, still a lot of that has come from hitting from the other side of the plate. So I don't really have a ton of interest here in the Reds. I'm going to probably end up playing more Carlos Rodon than I am Reds here. Atlanta at New York facing the Mets, 9 total. Atlanta 150 favor. We got Spencer Strider against Frankie Montas. So Strider, we've talked a lot about Strider and like where he's at right now. He's finally starting to put together some strikeouts. Like we've been patiently waiting. Like when is it going to happen? Do we think he's back? It's tough. It's still tough to say, but we're starting to see some of the velocity stuff come back, which is one of the biggest things that I know I talked about a lot. So with the velocity potentially coming back, I mean that's a big thing for me, and it always has been a big thing for me with him is the velocity. If we can like realistically see the velocity coming back, and it's still not like hitting triple digit velocity. Like if you go on StatCast and you're looking at some of the data, it's like he's sitting closer to like 96, 97 instead of like 98, 99. I don't know if we'll ever get, 2022 Strider back where he was throwing 99 consistently and throwing 98, 99 consistently with a 38% K rate. I just don't know if we're ever going to see that again. I mean, even in like 2023 when he was like striking out 36%. We go back and we look at 2024, his K rate was lower, his velocity was down. And then this year, like his K rate's like 29%. That's not bad by any means. It's not bad. It's a good strikeout rate. If you're looking at that strikeout rate, you're like super excited about that as like a pitcher. It's just a lot of his is tied to velocity. And you look at the Mets lineup and you're like, well, top half just doesn't strike out. Lindor, Nimmo, Soto, McNeil, they're all under 20%. Pete Alonso's like 21%. And that's the top 5 hitters. Bottom half of the lineup's not great. No power, a lot of strikeouts. We don't really know what to expect yet out of Jared Young. So, at the end of the day, do we think Strider can win this matchup? I think yes. The ballpark helps a lot. I just don't know if he's 10K Strider anymore. Like, are we paying more for Carlos Rodon? Are we paying more for Garrett Crochet? My initial thoughts is yes. So that's kind of where I'm leaning right now. Is I'm leaning like if I'm going to go up here, I'm going to go Crochet, Rodon. But I know like Freddie Peralta has been shaky this season, but man, like Pittsburgh is a great matchup for him. Bubik against Tampa. We're going to talk about that matchup. So just a couple that I remembered off the top of my head that are like cheaper. So I don't love Strider. I don't have any bad things to say about Strider outside the top half of this lineup is good. The ballpark for him is great. Citi Field's a great pitching ballpark. So there's that. Other side of this game, we get Frankie Montas back here. He did he like got hammered in his his last two rehab starts. I had read a report at one point, like a week ago, that like the Mets might move him to the bullpen and like let him pitch out of the bullpen. Regardless, I don't think we want to play Frankie Montas today. Let him beat us. I don't love the ballpark, but I like the matchup for the Braves bats. Montas is getting hit hard. He was getting hit really hard. The only thing is, like, if he gets hammered here and doesn't make it out of like third inning, Mets still have a top 5 bullpen. So I don't know if I necessarily love a full stack here, but I think we're looking at some Braves bats. Verdugo, if he corrects the lineup towards the middle, towards the half, bottom half, potentially. He's really cheap at 3,100. I like Baldwin, just a really good rookie hitting catcher. Ozuna, Albies, like these prices on these guys are super fair. I mean, Acuna and Olsen, great spots for them. So if I'm doing a mini stack, I'm probably trying to get like 2 cheap bats and then like one of Acuna or Olsen here. But I like the way this secondary stack potentially stacks up, where if Verdugo does crack the lineup, or like Eli White, either one of them, they're cheap, or like Albies is cheap, Baldwin's like fairly priced, like, and then you can get like Acuna or Olsen, and then like you're not using 2 outfield spots. So I like the potential secondary stack for Atlanta. As far as the Mets go, like I said, the top half of this lineup is very good. Strider is still really good. He struggles with fly balls to left-handed power hitters. So obviously, anytime that we're going to see that, we're going to like Soto because Soto is a ground ball hitter. So getting a fly ball pitcher here in Strider definitely benefits a guy like Soto. It benefits a guy like Nimmo. They're both very big ground ball hitters. So obviously, I talk about this all the time. Ground ball pitcher, fly ball hitter. You're going to generate more line drives that way. Arizona at Chicago taking on the White Sox. I was surprised a little bit that we had a total out for this game because like the whole Arizona lineup is questionable. Corbin Carroll, I know like he's questionable. Naylor left the game on Monday with like a shoulder. Suarez, I think he got hit right in the hand or something in the first inning, and he left the game. So I was a little shocked there was a line out because could see a really bad, potentially really bad Arizona lineup here. Ryan Nelson, Tyler Alexander. I should be able to say that name. 9 total. Arizona 160 favorite. So again, a little shocked by the total. I mean, obviously Ryan Nelson gets a pretty good matchup here against the White Sox. This lineup just really bad. Tachman had been hitting a little bit, but he's been dealing with a groin injury. So realistically, like Ryan Nelson's not a guy that's going to go out and strike out 10 hitters. But at 6,500, we could see Ryan Nelson go out and score like 15 to 20 fantasy points, which I think we'd all be super happy with that. So I wouldn't play a lot of him, but I think like Nelson's in the mix today. And then Tyler Alexander on the other side, like the Arizona lineup has the potential to be really bad today. But Tyler Alexander is like a 17% K rate guy. he doesn't really miss bats. The problem is, like, Suarez is one of their big hitters against left-handed pitching. He might not play. Naylor doesn't really affect this lineup. If Naylor's out, it probably helps the lineup a little bit, lefty wise. I don't want to play Tyler Alexander. I would probably play Ryan Nelson on the other side before I play Tyler Alexander here. I also don't think that, like, Tyler Alexander is going to go out and throw 100 pitches. I mean, they've been kind of letting him throw 3 or 4 innings and then he's done. As far as the bats here for Arizona, I like Grichuk. I like Gurriel. Kettle Marte. I always say that Marte has a little bit more power from this side of the plate. So if Suarez sits, like, you're going to potentially get like Marte at the top, and then you can get Gurriel. Gosh, Grichuk is $3K. I like that price a lot for him. So you're going to get some cheap bats here. I think you're potentially looking at some Arizona righties in this spot, and they could end up being like one of those teams where you're like 3 or 4 man stacking. As far as the White Sox go, this lineup, like I said, it's just such a bad lineup. Like, Ryan Nelson doesn't scare anybody, but the lineup is just so bad. I mean, you could potentially take some shots on Benintendi here. Maybe Ryan Noda. But overall, I don't have a lot of interest in the White Sox bats. The Dodgers are in Coors today. I don't want to like bury the lead. The Dodgers are in Coors today, for what it's worth. Seattle at Minnesota. 8.5 total in this game. It's a pick'em game. We got Castillo against Paddock in this one. Luis Castillo, strikeouts have just dropped down so much this year, almost 5%. It's like 4%. But his strikeouts have dropped a lot. I think, if I remember correctly, he only has like 2, maybe 3 games over 20 DK points this year. So the lack of strikeouts in the Minnesota lineup right now, I think Castillo's a fade for me today at 8,200. Chris Paddock on the other side. I mean, I've said it a bunch here over the last month. I think the Seattle lineup is way better than they were at the beginning of the year. Paddock is another low strikeout guy. His strikeouts have dropped down a lot this year. He's given up a ton of hard contact, almost 50%, not generating any whiffs. Spot I want to stay away from Paddock for sure. Seattle, again, I just said it right. Like, the Dodgers are in Coors against Herman Marquez. Sign me up for the Dodgers, right? Where am I getting different? I mean, I think Seattle's a team you can get different with on the slate. They're not cheap, which makes the stack a nice little pivot off of, potentially pivoting off the Dodgers. They just announced that Corbin Carroll fractures left hand, so he's definitely going to go on the IL. That stinks, man. I hate injuries. As someone that's had a lot of injuries in my life playing baseball, hate injuries for these guys. I like the Seattle stack. I want to pay it for Cal Riley. I like Polanco. I like Canzone, Luke Raley, Rosarina, Julio Rodriguez. Paddock is not like a very splitsy guy, so I think you can play both sides of the plate against him. So Canzone's really cheap at 2,700. I'm a fan of him. I was last year as well. We haven't really seen a lot of him, but even last year in the small sample size, we saw power, and his strikeouts are down this year. So I like Canzone quite a bit today for sure. I like the Minnesota side of this game as well. Again, like Luis Castillo, probably not a full stack spot because it's not like this guy's getting blown up. Wallner, I like Wallner against lower strikeout pitchers. Castillo's 17% strikeouts against lefties this year. So I like Wallner in this spot. Larnick, I like him in the spot. I always like to go to Larnick against pitchers that tend to give up a little bit more fly balls, which Castillo does. Dare I say, I don't even hate like the idea of playing some Cody Clemens here. Like, dude has some power against right-handed pitching. He's striking out a bunch, but I like the potential home run upside in the spot against Castillo. So he's really cheap. And again, we are going to be playing Dodgers and Coors against Marquez. Whether it works out or not, we'll see. But we are going to be attacking that matchup. Tampa Bay at Kansas City. This game has an 8.5 total. Kansas City a 144 favorite in this one. We got Taj Bradley against Chris Bubik. We'll go to Bradley first. I like you look at Taj Bradley and like last year, you're like, man, this guy, maybe the potential is there. Maybe like he has the upside. And you look at the beginning of the season for him and you're like, all right, maybe he's like there. And that middle stretch that of the season so far, he's just gotten hammered. And then he had a couple good games, and then he got hammered again. And it's just like, I think we're at the point with Taj Bradley where we realistically have no idea what to expect from him on a daily outing. Kansas City's not the craziest matchup in the world. They don't strike out a ton, but the bottom half of the lineup doesn't have the best power in it. Could he potentially be a large field tournament play? I mean, with his floor so low and his ceiling, his ceiling is okay. We've seen him this year have 30-plus point games. Game. So I'm on the fence on Bradley. I really haven't built lineups yet. I don't typically build lineups until lineups come out. So I'm on the fence on him. I will say the other side of this game, I have a ton of interest in Chris Bubich today. I've talked about this a lot this season. I really like left-handed pitching against the Rays. It's a team that I think you can pick on with left-handed pitching. I've done it a lot this year. I know like they are middle of the field in WRC plus. They're like 93 WRC plus, which is like 14th. But everything else, like they're bottom 10 in ISO. They strike out. They have I guess their walk rate has gone up since the last time I've looked at it. But it's just they're not the team that's going to pound left-handed pitching. So you look at Chris Bubich and you're like, this guy has plenty of upside at 9K. He's a really nice discount to some of these like high-end guys that you got to pay up for. Struggled against Texas, struggled against the Yankees. I think this is a great bounce back spot for him. So I definitely have Bubich on my list today. As far as Tampa bats, I don't love playing Yandy Diaz, but he is good against lefties. Caballero, maybe. He strikes out a ton, but he has a lot of power. I think you're going to find better options on the slate overall. When Taj Bradley typically struggles, it's like left-handed power is where you want to attack him. So if you want to play like Vinny P or Jock, sure, I'm not stacking Kansas City. Lefty power is what I wrote down on my notes for them. Pittsburgh at Milwaukee. 7.5 total in this game. One of the lowest totals on the slate. Milwaukee's a huge 208 favorite. We got Andrew Heaney against Freddie Peralta. in this one. Starting here with Heaney. Heaney's strikeout rate is down. He's another one of those guys down like 5%. And like, I like this matchup for him. Lefties have had success against this team this season. He doesn't pitch really deep into games, but he's another guy like that I'm willing to take some shots on in tournaments at 7,700. Like, again, we're going to play Dodgers today. So I want to save some money some places, and I think this is a spot you could potentially save some money. So like Heaney and Nelson, just kind of on the list for me. The other side of this game, I know Freddie Peralta has tilted us all season. We've wanted the Freddie, like big arm Freddie Peralta back. It's just not there for him this year. I love the matchup. You don't get much better than like Pittsburgh matchups. He faced them earlier this year and struggled. You love the matchup. You have to play some Peralta, I think, today if you're playing more than one lineup. Him, I do prefer, for what it's worth, I do prefer him with Bubik. Like if I was going to play like a main lineup, Pittsburgh bats like O'Neal Cruz, sure. There's not a lot of power in this lineup. They don't strike out a ton, but there's not a lot of power. Like you can go out and have really quality starts against them. And then like on the Milwaukee side, like who do we really want to play on Milwaukee? I mean, Trio, Isaac Collins, for what it's worth. Isaac Collins does have a lot more power from the right side of the plate. Hoskins, so like potentially taking some of these cheap guys. Collins is 3K, so I don't mind taking some shots on him. Like I said, he does have more power from the right side, and he's actually like hitting the ball really well right now. So Isaac Collins, another one of those like potential cheaper value plays. Carolina guy, the Kansas City lefty power is what I like. If you're going to play any Kansas City bats, lefty power in that one. Moving right along, we got Cubs and Cardinals. My voice is going to crack a lot. Just get used to it on this show. Hoping my voice starts to feel better as the week goes along here. Cubs, Cardinals, 9 total. Cubs a slight favorite. Jameson Taillon, Michael McGreevy facing off against each other here. I mean, Jameson Taillon, his strikeouts are just so bad this year. It's really hard to like get excited about playing him against anybody. Like he's just not really generating a lot of strikeouts. So I don't know. I don't have a ton of interest in him. Probably going to pass. And then Michael McGreevy on the other side, like he grades out as a guy that's probably going to be like an average strikeout pitcher at best. We saw this with him last year when he pitched a little bit. He's a top prospect in the Cardinals organization. I think he's like 10th or 11th. His biggest thing is like control. He has very good control. Been giving up a lot of fly balls this year to lefties, which you don't want to do against the Cubs in any ballpark. So check the weather in St. Louis because like we get these like hot summer days, summer night games in like St. Louis, and the ball flies. So I think the Cubs are another one of those like potential pivots off of the Dodgers. So Seattle Cubs so far for me off the Dodgers. Like the Dodgers are the top stack on the slate, but it's baseball. Anything can happen. I like Tucker. I like Suzuki. I like Armstrong. PCA. I don't mind like Happ or Swanson. Like I think they're all in play. The one that I just don't love if he cracks the lineup is Turner. He's not my favorite. I'd much rather have like Michael Busch in the lineup and get some exposure to him, even though he's expensive. Price-wise, I like Hap's price. Carson Kelly's price has come back to planet Earth, which is good. So, on the Cardinals side, I don't hate the Cardinals here. Again, like Jameson Taillon's such a low strikeout pitcher. He's giving up a ton of power to right-handed hitters this year. So, like, if you want to play some Contreras or Wynn or Arenado, I don't mind throwing in the occasional, like, Nootbaar, Burleson. I probably don't full stack them unless the weather is just like really good hitting conditions. But for what it's worth, St. Louis is really cheap today. I made a note to like mention that. So on DraftKings, the Cardinals, the pricing on them is super fair. Philadelphia at Houston, 7.5 total here. The Astros a 144 favorite. Rangers Suarez against Framber Valdez in this one. I looked at this spot and I see the total. I know the pitchers. These are like two of the pitchers that I feel like I get wrong more than any other pitchers in baseball. So I always struggle with that aspect of this. We'll start here with like Ranger Suarez. Like he's gonna face a very right-handed heavy lineup, but he's super solid against righties. He has an ISO under 100. He's still a ground ball guy. So it's like 9,700 for a guy that should pitch well against this lineup. Because like even though this lineup is like full of right-handed hitters, like they don't have a ton of power against lefties. Maybe a little bit of power like Pena. Cam Smith, strikeout or power. Christian Walker's power has been way down this year. It's really weird. I don't mind taking some shots on Suarez. He's a really good pitcher. I feel like I get him wrong a lot. But again, another guy under 10K that you could potentially take some shots on here. At least 7 innings pitched in 3 straight, coming off of 2 really back-to-back big games. The other side for Valdez, like, again, the Philly lineup doesn't have a lot of power. Schwarber lefty has a lot of power against lefties. But even with Valdez, it's like struggles, like he's still very elite against lefties. So I'm not as worried about Schwarber in this matchup. I think you can play Valdez today. I think it's going to be a really low-scoring baseball game for what it's worth. And, I mean, outside of his last start, Valdez has really pitched well over, like, the last month and a half. So, I will say I'm pulling up the Hard Rock app really quick because I kind of want to see what the first 5 is here. Philadelphia, Houston, first 5 innings, total runs, under 3.5. I think I'm going to take that. It's at even money. I'm going to take that one. So when I forget later to do a morning grind bet, there's my morning grind bet right there. Under 3.5, first 5 innings, Philly, Houston, plus 100. I don't really have any interest in bats in this game. I mean, Trey Turner, I guess, potentially. I think there's way better spots today overall. If I was going to play anybody, it'd be like Pena or Altuve or just chase the home run upside with like Cam Smith. But I think overall, I'm going to play the pitchers in this game more than the hitters. Dodgers, Rockies, no total in this game because we really don't know who's pitching yet for the Dodgers. It sounds like we'll get like this long relief potential role from Robliski. So I'm going to stay away from the Dodgers pitchers potentially here. I will say if we get confirmed that Roblisky is going to be the long reliever in this game, it's 5,500 as a lefty in Coors. I don't necessarily hate that as much as I originally thought, but I will say, like, a lot of the bats that you worry a little bit about with the Rockies are right-handed power bats, so maybe not. I just hate the overall long relief roles in general. I hate it. I'd much rather have some interest in him if he was starting. And I can say with 100% certainty, I'm not playing Herman Marquez against the Dodgers in Coors. I talked about it a lot as we were going through these games, but Marquez has a 15% K rate, 370 WOBA, gives up almost 55% hard hits this year, generates no whiffs, facing one of the best offenses in baseball and the best hitting ballpark in baseball. The Dodgers are the top stack on the slate today. They're expensive. You're going to need some value to make it work. I've talked about a lot of the value plays that I like as I've been going here. We have a lot of value on the slate to potentially make it work. You're kind of hoping like a guy like Rushing cracks the lineup here at 3,400 at catcher. That would be great to see. Muncy, you would love to see like a random Conforto start here with his pricing. So Edman at 4,200. Ohtani, I love what they priced him at. They priced him at a pitcher's like pricing. I'm a fan. He's capable of putting up like 40 points every game in this series, so I'm a fan. The Dodgers are the top stack. I've given out some pivots that I like, but they're the top stack on the slate today. As far as the Rockies bats go, so I like Beck. I talk about him a lot. Doyle, I don't mind him. Goodman, right? That's the catcher's name. Goodman, Beck, Doyle. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. But yeah, I mean, that's the guys that I'd be looking at here against the lefty long reliever. Boston, Adelaide taking on the Angels in this one. I haven't gotten to talk about the Rafael Devers trade yet. And everyone here knows I'm a Red Sox fan. If you listen to the podcast ever, you know the Red Sox are my team. I like the trade. I think I like the trade. Initially, my initial thoughts were I like the trade. I want to see Marcelo play every day. Marcelo Mayer. I know he's like off to kind of a sluggish start, but I want to see him play every day. And I want to, obviously, I want Roman Anthony to play every day. I don't care what his stats are. And I don't feel like we're going to win a World Series this year. And I'm all about like giving guys time to like kind of figure things out. And I really like Bregman. I love the Bregman pickup. And I think Bregman's getting closer than we think. So, again, like, I was talking, my brother-in-law is a Red Sox fan as well, and we were talking about this, and he was, like, flipping out. But Kyle Harrison's a really good pitcher that has a lot of upside. I don't know how I feel about Jordan Hicks yet, like, long-term, but I like, realistically think that, like, Kyle Harrison is a guy we can see really kind of progress long term. So I liked it. I know you guys probably don't care, but I liked it. I like the trade. Crochet, Anderson, 8 total, Boston 200 favorite. I don't know if I said all that. If I did, I'm sorry for repeating it. Crochet is my favorite pitcher on the slate. Shouldn't really shock anybody. And it's not because he's a Red Sox pitcher. It's because the Angels are just really good against righties, and they're really bad against lefties. They strike out a ton against left-handed pitching. This season, they lead the majors in strikeouts at like 28% against left-handed pitching. They hit home runs, but Crochet realistically has double-digit strikeout upside in this matchup. He's one of the strikeout props that I'll probably be laddering today because they just strike out a ton. He has a ton of strikeout ability. Love this matchup for him. I think this is a potential spot where we're looking at a potential 35 plus point game from him with his ceiling at 40, 45. I think it's a massive game for him. Other side, Tyler Anderson's a low strikeout guy. Really just doesn't fit what I'm looking at today. I will say, like, I wouldn't be shocked if he goes out and pitches okay and scores like 12 fantasy points, but I think you want more than that today with some of the guys that we have on the slate. So I don't really have a ton of interest in him. I like Trevor Story in this game on the hitting side. I think that Trevor Story at 3,400, we love to pay up at shortstop on most slates, but Trevor Story still very good against left-handed pitching. So I like him in this one. If Nate Eaton cracks the lineup today at 2,200, I think he's playable against the lefty. They sent Campbell down, which if you're like, I know they sent him down to like learn first base, but just like cares, just let him play. I mean, they really just sent him down to like work on first base, but like next year you're gonna have Casas back. Like, whatever. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, you're like buying into these rookies and these young players, and you're going young with like your roster. Let him play. I like Story. Like I said, I like Eaton if he cracks the lineup here. Rafaela, Ref Snyder, like those guys that hit left-handed pitching, I think they're all in play. I don't really have any interest in the Angels. Like, if you don't believe in Crochet or want some one-offs, it'd be Ward, Trout, Adele. I believe in Crochet in the spot, though. Washington at San Diego, 8.5 total here. San Diego, a 168 favorite. Trevor Williams against Ryan Burgett. I don't want to put Trevor Williams. I know that. We're going to talk about the bats for the Padres on the other side in a minute. We'll get there. But I don't want to play him. I don't think I am on the fence on Ryan Burgett in this spot because his pitches have increased. Just the problem that I have here is like he's not a really heavy strikeout guy. He's better against left-handed hitters. We've seen some strikeout games from him, but like this team doesn't strike out. They're not the best lineup in the world, but they don't strike out a lot. Like Wood is at 26%, but he's also at 300 on his ISO. I think I'd rather take like Nelson Heaney over him, but I'm also not playing 150. If I was playing 150, potentially I would get some exposure to him today. As far as the Nationals bats go, he's done an excellent job this year being kind of reverse splitsy and limiting the power, lefty power. So limiting the lefty power, I think I want to stay away from Washington in this spot. If I was going to play anybody, we would Abrams. On the Padres side, though, I really like the Padres today as a potential like tournament pivot off of the Dodgers. They don't have a ton of power, but they have enough power, and Williams is not great. He really struggles against lefties. And the bullpen is awful. I know I was talking about it a few minutes ago, but Washington bullpen, second worst bullpen in baseball this year in a lot of statistics, giving up a ton of runs and home runs. So I don't necessarily love the ballpark, but I think like you're not going to get a ton of ownership on the Padres. So I like them as a potential tournament pivot here. And they're not like overly expensive. Like you could potentially play Padres as your secondary Dodgers stack because they're so cheap today. If you don't play like Machado and Tatis, like Merle is 44, Sheets is 35, Cronenworth is 32. Like there's some cheap bats here, so I don't mind. I don't mind taking some shots on the Padres. Oh, Bruce Johnson. I didn't even know Bruce Johnson got called up. I like that. If he cracks the lineup today, I think you could potentially take some shots on Bruce Johnson. He's cheap. I think that's all I got for this one. I think that like they are really good as a potential pivot. And like, yeah. And like not necessarily getting Bryce Johnson. I'm not really getting like excited about like his power, but he does have some speed, and he's 2,200. So I like the potential in that aspect. He's cheap. Finish it out. Miami at San Francisco taking on the Giants. We got Cal Quantrill, Justin Verlander. 8 total in this one. So I don't want to play Cal Quantrill. Shocking. I don't know if I've ever recommended playing Cal Quantrill before, maybe, but 17.5% K rate, really struggles with right-handed hitters. And yeah, I mean, 2 of the best hitters in this lineup are right-handed, and now they got Devers. This lineup got better for sure. I'm gonna pass on Cal Quantrill. The real question is like, what do we do with Justin Verlander today? Because I think Justin Verlander is going to I think he's potentially going to get some ownership today. Because getting Miami, good ballpark for pitching. They don't have a ton of power, but like his upside is so limited now. So if Verlander is getting a ton of ownership, I go back to like the Nelson conversation, the Heaney conversation. I like those guys a little bit more. If he's not getting a ton of ownership today and he's going to be low owned, I think you could potentially take some shots on him. But if he's getting ownership, like let's play Sanchez, let's play Stowers. I don't hate it. Like let's play Liam Hicks. Like Justin Verlander doesn't blow the ball by anybody anymore. And Miami is not expensive at all. Let's play Edwards. Like I think Miami is another potential secondary stack here. And I see Chad. I know he was on paternity leave. Verlander with second child game. I mean, sure. If you ever had kids, like you're usually exhausted. Maybe a little bit different for Justin Verlander. Picking on Cal Quantrill here. I think Ramos is one of the better like home run plays of the day. Cal Quantrill on the season, 12% Ks, 279 ISO, 450 WOBA against right-handed hitters. Whiff rate at 16%, 8% swinging strike rate, 12% barrels. Says everything you want for like a Ramos or a Flores, Adames. Like these right-handed power bats in this lineup make a ton of sense today. So I think you chase some home runs here with these guys, and then you could play Devers if you want, or Yaz. Don't sleep on the Giants' right-handed power, though. All right, let's play the morning grind game. It's fun to be back. Appreciate everyone hanging out. I know my voice is probably a little annoying. Let's hit that subscribe button. We are still on the journey to 2,000 subscribers over there on YouTube. So go hit that subscribe button. I appreciate it. Rotogrinders, or not Rotogrinders, YouTube.com at Morning Grind. So I've said it for so many years. I mean, I love the RG guys. Everyone knows that. I love the RG guys. But I've said it for so many years. Morning Grind game under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. I don't know. I keep going back to Andrew Heaney being that strikeout guy in this range today. I know strikeouts have been all over the place this year, but he does have multiple games with over 6 strikeouts. So give me Andrew Heaney over 8K to score under 15. My bust today, I think a lot of these guys get there. I think the guy that's really standing out to me today that I don't want to play is Luis Castillo against Minnesota. Over 4K to hit a home run, not in Coors. We have a lot of great options today. But I'm going back to what I was just talking about, the right-handed power against Cal Quantrill. Give me Ramos to go yard for the Giants today, hit number 14. Under 4K to get 10 plus DK points. I'm going to go way back to the beginning of the show. I was talking about him. Give me Canzone at 2,700 to get 10 or more points today. He's been okay recently. Also, like Collins from Milwaukee. Those are like the two cheap guys that really stood out to me on the show today when I was breaking down matchups. I know I just talked about Heaney, but like Isaac Collins, more power from the right side, hitting the ball really well recently. So, yeah, throwing that one out there. Stack to score 6 or more runs. Let's go Seattle Mariners to get it done. Appreciate everyone. Thanks for hanging out. I'll be back tomorrow, assuming I can talk. And Trevor Story just hit a home run. So there you go. Alex Cora got ejected and like Trevor Story went yards. So gonna go watch the end of the Red Sox game. Appreciate everyone, and I'll see you all tomorrow.